Good evening. As the world around you grows quiet, I'd like to invite you to settle in, perhaps under warm blankets, in the gentle darkness of your room. Let your shoulders relax. Your breathing can find its own rhythm now. Tonight, we're going to take a slow walk through time itself. Not a hurried tour, but a wandering path through some of the oldest, most puzzling places our world has ever known. You see, even after thousands of years, after all our science, all our tools, all our questions, the Earth still keeps secrets. Across deserts and mountains, hidden in stone and soil, there are places that whisper to us. Places built by human hands, shaped by human dreams, yet still wrapped in mystery. Not frightening mystery, quiet mystery. The kind that makes us wonder, the way we wonder at stars. These ancient sites have survived empires rising and falling. They've watched centuries pass like shadows across stone. And they're still here, still standing, still asking us, how did they do this? Why did they choose this place? What did it mean to them? The night is a good time for such questions. In darkness, we often find clarity. In silence, we hear echoes of the past more clearly. And in the space between knowing and not knowing, there's a kind of peace, a reminder that not everything needs to be solved to be beautiful. So let's begin our journey. From Turkey to Peru, from England to the Pacific, we'll visit 5 remarkable places. 5 monuments to human creativity and determination. 5 gentle mysteries to carry with you into sleep. The night is long, and so is human history. There's room for both wonder and rest. 1. Göbekli Tepe, Turkey. Our first stop takes us to a hilltop in southeastern Turkey, to a place called Göbekli Tepe. The name means potbelly hill in Turkish, a humble name for something quite extraordinary. Imagine walking across a high, windswept plateau. The landscape is open, spare, beautiful in its simplicity. Around you, golden grassland, distant mountains, and the vast sky above. This is where, about 9,500 years ago, long before cities, long before farming as we know it, people gathered to build something remarkable. They carved massive stone pillars from the earth, tall T-shaped stones, some as high as a grown man, weighing as much as 10 people. These weren't rough blocks. They were shaped with intention. Some bear carved images, foxes, scorpions, snakes, and abstract patterns. The stone is cool to the touch, textured with age, marked by careful human hands. The pillars were arranged in circles, rings of stone, standing like silent sentries around the hilltop. Imagine the sound of stone on stone as they worked. Imagine the effort, the planning, the shared purpose that brought people together in this remote place. Here's where the mystery deepens. We don't know exactly why. These people were hunters and gatherers. They didn't farm, didn't have permanent settlements nearby. Yet they invested enormous time and energy into this place. Was it sacred? A gathering place for rituals? A temple? A calendar aligned with stars? We find evidence of feasting, bones of wild animals suggesting celebrations, but the deeper meaning remains cloaked in time. What we do know is this: these people possess skill, vision, and the ability to organize. They understood stone. They understood community. They built something that would outlast them by thousands of years, something that would one day make us pause and wonder. Göbekli Tepe reminds us that human creativity and ambition are ancient. Long before writing, before cities, before recorded history, people were creating monuments to something they valued deeply. As we leave this windswept hilltop and travel south, across deserts and seas, we carry with us this first quiet question: what moves us to build? Segment 2: Nazca Lines, Peru. Now we journey to the high desert of Peru, to a vast flat plateau called the Pampas de Nazca. The year is roughly 2,000 years ago. Picture this landscape: endless golden brown earth stretching to the horizon. The ground is covered in dark pebbles, worn smooth by wind and time. The sky is impossibly wide and blue. It's a place of extremes: hot by day, cold by night, with almost no rain. A harsh, beautiful emptiness. And yet across this emptiness, someone drew pictures. Enormous pictures. If you were to stand on the ground itself, you'd see only lines, paths of lighter-colored earth, where the dark pebbles have been swept away. But if you could float high above, as a bird might, you'd see the truth: massive geometric shapes and figures. A hummingbird, wings spread wide; a spider, intricate and precise; a monkey with a spiraling tail; trapezoids and triangles, straight lines that stretch for miles. The scale is staggering. The hummingbird is as long as 3 city blocks. Some lines run perfectly straight for miles across uneven terrain. The precision is remarkable. Drawn without modern tools, without the ability to see the whole design from the ground. Who made them? Most likely, the Nazca people, a sophisticated culture that flourished in this region. They were skilled farmers, artists, and engineers. They built an intricate system of underground aqueducts to bring water through the desert. They created beautiful pottery and textiles. But why the lines? This is the question that lingers. Were they pathways for ritual processions, offerings to the sky, visible only to the gods, a calendar marking seasons and stars, a map of constellations? We find no clear answer in the archaeological record. What we do know, someone invested enormous effort into creating beauty in an empty place. Beauty that could only be fully appreciated from a perspective they could never have: the sky itself. There's something profound in that, a gift given to the universe or to the gods, or perhaps simply an expression of human creativity that needed no audience but the stars. The Nazca Lines teach us that mystery can be monumental, and that sometimes the most puzzling questions are also the most beautiful. As we move eastward now, across the Atlantic toward ancient Britain, we carry this image with us: lines drawn in the earth, pointing toward the infinite sky. 3 Stonehenge, United Kingdom. Picture yourself on the Salisbury Plain in southern England. The year is roughly 5,000 years ago, though Stonehenge was built over many centuries, in stages, so imagine the landscape across a vast span of time. The plain itself is open grassland, rolling gently, dotted with small hills. The sky is often grey here, clouded, soft with mist. The wind carries the scent of earth and grass. In the distance, you might hear the call of birds, larks perhaps, and the whisper of wind through the grass. And there, arranged in a great circle, stones, massive stones. Some stand upright, as tall as houses, weighing as much as elephants. Others lie across them, forming lintels, horizontal beams of stone, balanced with impossible precision. The stones themselves are textured, weathered, some smooth from countless touches, others rough and raw. These are not local stones. The largest, the sarsen stones, came from quarries 20 miles away. The smaller blue stones, and here's the deeper mystery, came from Wales, over 150 miles away. Imagine the effort, quarrying stone without modern tools, transporting massive weights across land and water, positioning them with accuracy that still astonishes engineers today. The people who built Stonehenge were Neolithic, and Bronze Age peoples. They were farmers, hunters, skilled in working stone and wood. They understood the seasons, the movements of sun and moon. They had rituals, ceremonies, and a deep connection to the land. But why Stonehenge? The central mystery remains. Astronomical alignment? The stones do align with sunrise at the summer solstice and sunset at the winter solstice. A healing temple? Excavations have found evidence of people traveling from far away, some with injuries or illnesses. A burial ground? Yes, cremated remains have been discovered. A gathering place for ceremonies? Almost certainly. Perhaps it was all of these things. Perhaps Stonehenge served different purposes across the centuries it was built and used. What's clear is this: it required vision, cooperation, and sustained effort across generations. People committed their lives to a project they would not see completed. That's a kind of faith. Faith in community, in shared purpose, in something larger than themselves. The stones stand in silence now, as they have for 5,000 years. They've weathered storms, wars, the passage of countless seasons. They remain, patient and mysterious, inviting us to wonder. From these ancient stones in the misty north, we now turn our gaze toward the vast Pacific Ocean, toward an island of mystery rising from the sea. 4. Moai statues of Easter Island, Chile. Imagine sailing across the vast Pacific Ocean, farther and farther from any other land, until you reach a small island, one of the most isolated places on Earth. This is Easter Island, or Rapa Nui, as the Polynesian people who settled here called it. The island is volcanic, with a dramatic landscape. Craters rise like sleeping giants. The earth is dark and rocky, covered with sparse vegetation. The ocean surrounds it completely, vast and powerful. The wind is constant here, carrying salt spray. The nights are deep and starry. And across this island, facing outward toward the sea, stand the Moai, stone figures carved from volcanic rock, standing as sentinels. They range in height from a few feet to over 30 feet tall as a 3-story building. They weigh dozens of tons. Each has a distinctive face, a long nose, prominent chin, deep eye sockets. Some still wear top knots of red stone. Some have been restored. Others lie broken or unfinished, as if abandoned mid-creation. There are nearly 900 of them, scattered across the island. Imagine the effort: quarrying stone, carving with stone tools, moving these massive figures across rough terrain to their final positions. This work spanned centuries, from roughly 1,000 years ago until around 500 years ago. The people who created them were Polynesians who arrived by canoe, navigating thousands of miles of open ocean with only stars and intuition to guide them. They were skilled sailors, farmers, and artists. They had a complex society with skilled craftspeople and leaders. But here's the central mystery. Why did they stop? Why are so many Moai unfinished, abandoned mid-carving? What happened? The evidence suggests that the island's resources became strained. Trees were cut down faster than they could regrow. Soil eroded. The population grew, and food became scarce. Society fractured into competing groups. The energy and resources that had gone into carving and moving Moai were redirected toward survival. The great project simply ended. Yet the Moai remain, facing the ocean, their expressions serene and patient. They're a monument not just to human creativity, but to the complexity of human societies, to ambition, to cooperation, and to the fragility of civilizations that depend on their environment. There's a quiet lesson in these stone faces. that what we build is precious, and that the world we inherit from those before us is a gift that requires care. As we prepare for our final journey, we carry the image of these patient sentinels, gazing eternally toward the horizon. 5. Machu Picchu, Peru. Our final destination takes us high into the Andes Mountains of Peru, to a place so remote and so perfectly situated that it remained hidden from the outside world until 1911. Imagine climbing higher and higher into mountains so tall that the air grows thin. Around you, peaks rise like cathedrals, their slopes steep and forested. Clouds gather and drift through the valleys. The temperature drops. The landscape is dramatic, almost otherworldly, a place that feels separate from ordinary time. And there, perched on a ridge between two mountain peaks, sits Machu Picchu. It's a city, but unlike any other. Stone structures, temples, residences, storage buildings are arranged with precision across the mountainside. The stones are fitted so carefully that you cannot slide a knife blade between them. No mortar was used, yet after 500 years, the walls stand firm. Terraces step down the mountainside, engineered for agriculture. Water channels run through the city, still flowing. Staircases are carved into the stone itself. The Inca people built this city, likely around 450 years ago, at the height of their empire. They were master engineers, architects, and administrators. They understood stone, water, agriculture, and astronomy. They built an empire that stretched across much of South America. But here's the mystery that has captivated us. Why was Machu Picchu built in such a remote, difficult location? What was its purpose? Was it a royal estate, a sacred religious site, a fortress, an astronomical observatory? The evidence suggests it may have been all of these, a place of multiple purposes, serving the Inca elite and their spiritual beliefs. The city aligns with celestial events. It sits at a place where mountains, rivers, and sky seem to converge in harmony. What's remarkable is that the Spanish conquistadors, who conquered much of the Inca Empire, never found Machu Picchu. The jungle reclaimed it. For centuries, it lay hidden, known only to local people. When it was rediscovered, it was largely intact, a window into Inca civilization preserved by time and remoteness. Machu Picchu teaches us something profound, that human beings are capable of creating beauty and engineering marvels in the most challenging circumstances, that we're drawn to high places, to places where earth meets sky, that we build not just for survival, but for meaning, for transcendence, for connection to something greater than ourselves. And so our journey ends where it began, in wonder, in the quiet space between knowing and mystery. We've traveled across continents and through thousands of years. We've stood, in our imagination, before monuments built by human hands and human dreams. Göbekli Tepe's stone pillars on a windswept plateau, the Nazca Lines drawn across an empty desert, Stonehenge's patient stones on the misty plain, the Moai's eternal gaze across the Pacific, Machu Picchu's temples nestled in the clouds. Each of these places asks us questions that remain unanswered, not because we lack intelligence or tools, but because time itself has carried away so much. The voices of those who built these monuments have fallen silent. Their intentions, their rituals, their daily lives, so much is lost to us. And yet, there's a kind of beauty in that loss, in the not knowing. These mysteries remind us that human beings have always been creative, ambitious, and capable of remarkable things. Long before modern technology, before written records, before the world became connected by instant communication, People were building, dreaming, and creating meaning. They were asking questions about the stars, about the seasons, about their place in the universe. The mysteries also remind us of something else, that we don't need to have all the answers to appreciate beauty. We don't need to understand everything to be moved by it. Sometimes the most profound experiences come from standing before something we don't fully comprehend, something larger than ourselves, older than ourselves, wiser in its silence than we are in our noise. These ancient sites have endured because they were built with care, with intention, with materials that last. They've outlived empires, wars, and centuries of change. They're still here, still teaching us, still inviting us to wonder. As you drift now towards sleep, carry these images with you gently. The cool texture of ancient stone, the vastness of empty deserts and high mountains, the patient faces of statues gazing toward horizons we cannot see, the mystery of human creativity, stretching back through time like a thread connecting us to those who came before. These mysteries are not problems to be solved. They're invitations to contemplation, to curiosity, to humility in the face of human history. They remind us that the world is larger and stranger and more beautiful than we often remember in our daily lives. May the quiet of the night keep your thoughts light and your dreams peaceful. May you rest knowing that mysteries, like these ancient stones, are patient. They're not going anywhere. They'll be here, waiting, whenever you're ready to wonder again. Sleep well. The night is deep, and it's yours to enjoy.